Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we are able to chase that sleep away, that lunch-induced sleep now with our panel. Um, to start with, I think we could just very quickly go with a 60 seconds kind of intro for each of us and our business, or anything you want to say about your business. I'll start with myself. I'm Neha Kant. I'm founder of a women's lingerie brand called Clovia. We started with lingerie, but today we do all things intimate and that need trust with women, from lingerie, sleepwear, activewear, intimate care, and so on. And today we are loved by about 5 million women across India.
Yeah, this is Manish, and I'm founder of Pengu. Pengu is a D2C space-saving furniture brand. We are based out of Goa, and we've been in business since last 5 years, since 2019.
Hi, this is Jugal. I'm the founder of Bombay Trooper. We are a 10-year-old apparel and accessories company.
Namaste, I'm Harsh Modi. I'm the founder at Mulmul. We are a women's fashion brand.
Hey, this is Abhishek Ramanathan here, co-founder of NUA. We specialize in women's wellness. We serve over 10 lakh women across the country.
Hi, I'm Abhijeet Anand. I'm the founder and CEO of abCoffee. abCoffee is India's first tech-enabled specialty grab-and-go coffee chain. Also the award-winning and highest-rated coffee company in the country.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Anant, Tanted, founder of the Indian Garage Company, House of Brands. 3 brands, Indian Garage Company in the casual space, Freehand, our women's wear fast fashion brand, and Heart Soda, one of the very few initiatives for plus size in the country.
Hi, I'm Joseph Paul George. We run a women's ethnic wear brand called Vismay. It's in South India. We have 35 stores across the southern states.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yash Kotak. I'm one of the founders of the Bombay Hemp Company, or Boheco. We're India's foremost industrial hemp and medical cannabis company that's working in the realm of pain management and mental well-being, all made from cannabis.
Thank you, everyone. The idea of this panel is that we have founders and management of all these new age businesses here, and we will offer crisp insights today, short and crisp insights from each of our businesses. So I'll start with you, Abhijeet, with abCoffee. Coffee chain, as I understand, is more of an experience business and not so much also product, but more experience. But you built a grab-and-go business. So how are you differentiating and how are you scaling on grab-and-go, which is not typically a coffee concept?
Right, no, great question to start with. If you look at historically, how have you seen the chai joints of the country? The chai joints of the country have always been grab, stay, go, which means for everybody, you always have one place where you hang around with. You go there, you grab your cup of chai for a minute or two with your friends and get going. So what we believe is India has already been historically oriented towards grab, stay, go concept, and we are the grab, stay, go concept, serving you specialty coffee at prices that make sense, which is almost 1/3 of the market benchmark. Coffees that are highest rated in the country, specialty grade. And then serve you efficiently with a turnaround time of 1.5 minutes. What we are tapping into is coffee as a daily lifestyle product than coffee as an experiential product. So the way in India it was always positioned, unlike many other countries around the world, was that coffee is something that you can have when you go there for something and you have coffee on the side, which is typically the case in cafes. And I think they're doing an incredible job. And what we are solving is simple. You want to have a cup of coffee and you don't want the real estate to pay it for. That's where we come in. And historically, that's how chai giants were. And that's what we are building as a neighborhood coffee place of the country at abCoffee. That's what we are tapping with grab and go efficiently.
All right. Thank you. So following chai formula, replicating it on coffee.
Following Indian formula is what I love. Because
Indian
that's been
formula.
done, dusted, been there always. So yeah, you're right.
So Abhishek, NUA. Now this is it's a topic close to my heart as well because sanitary napkins as a category. One would think that in India, as popular as a country as India, this would be a large category, but the numbers are surprisingly low. In fact, I used to think that women underwear is a small category, but sanitary napkins surprisingly is even smaller. And then also it is dominated almost completely by the 2 big names in the industry. So what growth hack did you apply to one, gain existing market share, and also did you work towards growing that market and category size?
Sure. think that's a really good question. I'll just give some context before I answer the question. The market in itself is actually doubling every 5 years. So I think India especially is a highly underpenetrated market, just given that just the education around this is the organized sanitary pads market that we're talking about and what you were referring to. And that's growing at a rapid pace, first of all. I think specifically to Noah and what we've been able to do, I think what we've been really focused on is building the brand. I think, and building the brand really, I think it's about how do you create the pull, especially in a monopolistic sort of market, or at least duopolistic market. So what we've really been focused on is, how do you create the pull from customers by creating really great products, and then creating that experience around it for customers. Growth hacks that you talked about, I think one is definitely social media has been a really sort of important lever for us in terms of creating that brand awareness and really creating conversations around menstrual wellness and wellness in general. We get a lot of questions on things other than just menstrual wellness, right? For example, sexual wellness or even otherwise. That's definitely one. I think the use of, clever marketing techniques, whether it's influencer marketing, is definitely something now. I know a lot of brands do it, but we started it really early. And obviously referrals is a really important part of our business as well. I think that's a really important growth hack. And it almost happens very organically for us. We don't have to try very hard. It's one of those things that once a woman tries a product, loves our product, will recommend it. And I was just having a conversation earlier with someone who was saying the same thing. So that's typically what ends up happening. So those are some of the growth hacks that we've been able to use to grow. Yeah.
Finding the early fencers, I believe, early adopters, more aware audience, okay. Yeah. Anant, with Indian Garage Company, it's very easy to lose your shirt in a shirt business. And I was really curious, what did you do to remain unique and innovative in such a generic kind of a category?
I am just hoping there are not too many shirt manufacturers or apparel people in the, in here in the hall right now, because that would spill the beans. But I think the answer lies in the ecosystem. Unique and innovative, I think the question is more because we now know that the Gen Z consumer is very, very different. The consumer that is evolving in the country or the consuming class, is behaving very, very differently. They change very fast. Brand loyalty is something that, everybody is questioning, how are these consumers going to remain brand loyal? So I think what we've done right as Indian Garage is own the ecosystem or create that ecosystem where we control right from design to production to sales, right? We are a pure breed D2C company. Now, when I say how does that help, is because if you have to remain unique, if you have to keep innovating, and you're not owning the entire ecosystem or the entire supply chain mechanism, I think that is where it goes wrong, because then the lead times become far larger for you to be able to convert. The trends, and I can specifically talk about fashion, the trends are evolving very fast. It's almost become weekly now. There are players like Shein who are launching 30,000, 40,000 or upwards design every single week, right? And that is how the consumer is evolving here in India as well. They want freshness. They want to, keep trying new things. And if your lead times are larger and if your dependencies are larger, then I think you will not be able to innovate. Also, I think it's a lot to do with understanding the demand. At a lot of times, we get carried away by our own ideas of, what we should be selling to consumer and not vice versa. We don't sense the demand, right? We don't understand how the consumer is evolving. And therefore, that uniqueness and innovation goes for a toss. And therefore, we've, from our experience, we've positioned ourselves as a product company. We look at more on what the consumer requires than what we want to sell to the consumer. I think there is where the entire, we are making this possible, and we are not losing our shirt, but I am sure a lot of people are losing theirs because of us. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. Money is often in the mundane to sell something designer and trendy, you need to take care of the boring parts first, supply chain and basics first.
Absolutely. Who can understand that better than you, I think.
So Harsh, about Mulmul, your family has been in the business of textiles, and then you took it forward and you took it into a brand. What kind of mindset change did you have to do between, for yourself and for your family? And were there any, typically it's like a match made in heaven. You have the supplier base ready and you can launch on day one. But so what different challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
Yes, you're right. It is a match made in heaven because we had done the hard work. The foundation was rock solid. We are still vertically integrated, so we understood what fabrics are, how a garment is made, how efficiently to make a garment, how to get the quality checks in place. All of it was already there. So while a lot of people might look at Mulmul and say that it's grown rapidly, I would say they obviously miss out the 20, 30 years that have gone behind before even Mulmul was born. But we have kind of turned it into in our favor because previously we were always supplying to international brands like Zara, H&M, the high street ones. And the volumes that those guys do were humongous. So we were very used to those volumes. So, and when you launch something new, we started very, very small. So, but we adapted to it. And I always wanted to create something which we could associate a name with, build a brand around. And in India, if you notice, especially in the fashion category, if we leave the couture designers out, there are very few premium brands that have been created. And Mulmul is one of them and I feel it takes a lot of patience to build a premium product. You're not playing on the price, you're not playing on discounting, stuff like that. It's all about the customer experience that you're providing. And we started off as a digital-first brand. Our AOVs are around the 15,000 range, and people said, you can't sell a 15,000 rupee product online in India, it's impossible. Thankfully, we kind of crushed that myth, and today we've scaled to good level, and we've also gone offline with our company-owned, company-operated stores. But at the end of the day, we feel that the customer is ready. It's about the brand offering the right product and gaining that customer confidence is all about. It's all about that. And then once you have it, then India is, I think, the best market to be in the world, and it's ever growing, and the purchasing power is growing by leaps and bounds. And I think we only have upwards from here.
Good. So you unlocked the premium 1%, top 1% of the population. It seems nice. Paul, same question for you. You also have, like Harsh, similar background. Your parents ran a textiles export and manufacturing business, and then you took the brand, or you extended it to a brand, Vismay. So what challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so even we had some challenges initially. One of the main challenges would be, we were actually mostly into trading. So when we decided to build a brand, the most important thing is a mindset. Because when you do trading, it's more about just product and get it sold somehow. There's no customer experience, all that comes in. So the thought process of how to build the customer experience, keeping the customer in front in terms of not just the product, but every step of the way, that was a culture that had to be brought in, which was, in a trading, that's not that critical. It's a more fast-paced, it's more of a short-term play, 45-day cycle, it just keeps going. So that was a critical factor. Another is, again, the long-term play mindset. So when you're building a brand, it's not like trading at all. So you are not, doing a business for the next 1 year, or you're not planning for 6 months. The returns come much later. The brand gets built over a period of time. The brand doesn't. You can build awareness in a short time, but to build a brand, it takes a lot of time, a lot of loyalty, all that comes in. That patience and that mindset of having that patience is very critical. Another is the team. So when the team comes in, you need to build a team that understands this. So when you have a team that came from trading, you need to train them into understanding, okay, this is what we did, but now this is what we need to do. What are the changes we need to make in our mindset, our thinking, how we see the future, how we see each and every store experience and so on. So yeah, these were some of the critical things that we had faced. But like you said, the advantages were also very high. So if you are from a business that has a background in textile, it gives you a very high advantage in terms of quality processes, fabric understanding process. So that was also very helpful, this process.
Yeah, changing the pace of your organization, I would say that's a very tough call. Elephants did dance in your case then, in that case. Jugal, with Bombay Trooper, I went and I saw the merchandise, very unique, very cool looking merch, but it did warrant a question in my mind that how do you ensure, how do you plan your inventory? How do you, because one failed season in a business like that can really write off the business. So how do you insulate yourself from that risk?
So that's a very triggering question because we're just recovering from a similar incident. Our last winter season, we had a collection that kind of didn't go as expected. So obviously, we recovered from it. In the end, what we have to do is just identify that it's not gonna, the sell-through is not gonna be as you expected. And just as a fashion company, you can always, discount it and liquidate your inventory. So that's what we identified that soon enough to, not miss the season and still liquidate it faster. Because see, for us, failure means our inventory, fortunately, always sell off. Failure is where I consider when we are not able to sell at the price we decided. Our target price, there was not much movement or traction over there. So which is why we eventually have to discount it out and liquidate. How do we insulate is obviously from the recent learnings as well, right? We have decided to have a healthy chunk of perennial products, perennial collection that stays throughout the year. So, at least more than 50% of my business comes from those and only the other half needs to keep rotating on season basis.
Yeah, well, perennials and essentials is something that I vibe with as well, being in the business of lingerie. Manish, with Pengu, I read it's making most of your space. You mailed furniture for small, cramped apartments, and so awesome proposition. But how do you define the success of your brand? What are the 3 KPIs or any KPIs that you track to ensure, to see where your brand is going?
So the primary, when we define the success of Pengu, so I would say practical innovations. Okay. So I believe the innovations are of 2 kinds. If you see in the products out there. Okay. So one is that kind of innovation which you will feel, wow, very amazing and everything. But probably will not buy that product. Probably there might be the reason that that product is not solving that problem. That innovation is not solving the real problem. That is the one. Second, it may be ahead of the time. Third, it might be very expensive. It might not be the value for money that you're looking for. A second kind of innovation is practical innovation, which is a simple innovation, but it is solving the real problem. So how do we create a brand? Furniture is such a huge category. So how do you make a place for yourself in such a category? So first you identify a gap, okay, and you fill the gap by applying practical innovation in the product. So that is how we differentiate, and that is how we have created a brand into specifically the space saving category, and we've been doing a lot of innovation into this category. Now talking about the KPIs, how we track the success of the brand. So primary for us, it is a customer acquisition cost or ROAS you say. If the ROAS drop below 10, it's a red flag for us. Something is wrong. So we get into action, like, maybe like the products, we have a competition or pricing strategy needs to change, or there are a lot of things. Okay. Second area is like, because it's a niche category and furniture been intent-based buying, you don't have much repeated purchase. But of course, you get purchase from the reference. If the customers are happy, they are going to refer the product. So from the reference and the repeat purchase, collectively we see the 10% should be the ratio. If it is below that, then there is a problem. So we again get into action about it. And third thing is, the major thing is the customer satisfaction level that needs to be tracked.
Nice. I read somewhere that successful entrepreneurs focus on the problem and not the product. So I think you've got that right. Yash, your business, when I Googled, the first thing that Google snippet asked me was, is it Is Boheco legal? I was wondering, what should I do about it? So I'm sure you've come across many such questions in past, especially from your parents and family, I'm sure, and many challenges. But which was the toughest challenge that you took head on?
Right. No, of course, this has been a problem that's plagued us since a while. It's been 11 years since we're doing Boheco, and you won't believe it, but the most, like in our FAQ, the number one question till date is, when we used to do the clothing business, it was, if I wore this hemp shirt, will it give me a high?
A little
right?
louder, Yash.
Oh, a little louder, sure. Will it give me a high, right? So we had to solve for these problems where we understood that, tackling the myopic mindset that comes with cannabis was the first challenge, and that is only going to come with education and awareness. And of course, there is one type of awareness where you do your content marketing and speaking largely, but because we have that bias and because we're doing this, people usually discount that. But there's one thing we realize that people are not going to discount, and that is using science and policy, right? So we're a vertically integrated company, which means we breed our own varieties, we cultivate our own varieties, we manufacture our products, and we sell it, right? So we're in the whole value chain. So the first part was, and the mission of Boheco is also educate, cultivate, elevate. Educate is the first thing, because when it comes to cannabis, people don't have to learn about something new. First, they need to unlearn and then relearn. And that has been our, I'd say, biggest journey, where, doing clinical trials, speaking to the right kind of policy makers for them to establish a policy and recognize hemp and cannabis is a big part of our culture, and draft rules and regulations around it. Once that kind of evidence is in front of you, our thought was that let's influence the influencer. And in our realm, the influencer would be a doctor, right? So how do we get a doctor to prescribe our medication? Once you have scientific evidence to prove that it's efficacious, safe, it's not toxic, and it can really help improve quality of life of patients, then they are willing to prescribe it. And once a doctor writes it on a prescription, 8 out of 10 times the patient's going to purchase. And the areas that we picked are pain management and mental well-being, where there are a dearth of solutions, or if the solutions that are there are either inadequate or not enough, right? So there was this huge gap. And with, of course, after the pandemic, the need for mental well-being solutions, anxiety, sleep disorders, stress, etc., grew. And pain, it's a silent epidemic with only opioid-based solutions out there, with a lot of side effects that come with it. And cannabis became a non-addictive natural solution for this. So while, yes, the story of cannabis and the background of cannabis is, will it get me high? Our aim was that how do we transition the perception of cannabis from dope to hope, right? And that we use the entire science and policy aspect to ride that wave. And yeah, so far so good.
Dope to hope.
Yeah.
Very nice. Is that the tagline for your brand as well?
Well, it could be now that you say it. Yeah.
Okay. Abhijeet, back to you with the abCoffee. I read a recent article about your business, and you said it's a tech-enabled business. For something as mundane, I would say, in beverage, how are you using tech for scaling it?
Right. Great question. And the way I'll start it is what we want to envision, right? So we envision ourselves as 10,000 outlet company.
Closer.
10,000 outlet company in the country. We are building a playbook on how to deploy 7 outlets a day after we build the playbook in the next 7-8 years, right? And that's how we're going to go from tier 1 to tier 4, very early on in the journey at the moment. Now, in order to do that, the only way we can solve it is by integrating front end, back end, and as I call that, middle end, using technology. So I'll break it into 3 parts. And I'll take you back towards how India is globally and how India is in India in terms of technology. India leads fintech technology years ahead as compared to the Western economy. One sector, and I am an engineer and I come from oil and gas, and I think oil and gas also is still getting into technology field slower than rest of the segments. Retail is another segment which is still catching up with technology. And it has always been considered that technology is expensive, the cost of change is so high, will it return the ROI for me, right? And the way I look at it is the only thing that will transform retail in a much faster way, unprecedented way, and adapt to the consumerism in India is technology. So what we've done is 3 things. Number 1, You go anywhere, wherever we are located, in India, which is at the moment Delhi and Bombay, across 37 outlets. There are two ways to order. One is you go and sit in a restaurant and you order conventional ways. The second one is you order on Swiggy or Zomato and the order will be delivered at your home while you're transiting. We have changed the game. We said you go on one particular web app, which is either you download it or you go to order.abcoffee.in. You can pre-order your coffees. On your transit, you keep going, grab and leave. You don't have to wait because we lie in your transit. We are there in your transit. So entire consumer interface is now on the go. Second is how do you, and in a food and beverage business, while product is king, what brings loyalty is consistency, right? And one of the biggest challenge in scaling in our kind of business. What we did is, and the easiest part is, you automate the system, you put expensive equipment. We said expensive equipment means more capex means more ROI means more money that you need in the pocket today. So what you do is you innovate the semi-automatic or the semi-system that you have, a little bit of engineering brain, and you retrofit it such that the capex increase is lower. You put technology in it so that it brings more consistency. So I believe that's the back-end part of it. And the third is tying together, and what we are also doing now is auto-indenting of orders, getting into a distribution business of food and ingredients in our outlets, tying it together using technology. These are the three things that I believe we are doing it. We are still very early on in that, and we're building that playbook. I think it's key as we scale, or a company like ours scales to higher heights as we touch more touch points in the country.
Interesting gap that you found in market. Coffee on during your transit, grab and go to your destination. Nice. So, Abhishek, with sanitary napkins, as a woman, you expect it to be available in your nearest store, everywhere. It's even the category may be small, it's widely distributed. The two big brands are found in every kirana, neighborhood, modern trade, general trade, everywhere. But I'm sure as a new brand, it takes time for you to build a distribution that deep. So how do you then ensure that customer plans ahead, visits website or visits your point of sales and purchases? How do you build that loyalty?
Sure, I think I'll answer this in, well, actually, we did this in 3 phases, and I'll quickly walk you through it. The first phase, I think we realized very early in the game that for this to work, we can't take on the distribution might of the large players in the market. So the first thing we did was innovate on our direct-to-consumer channel, and we built a subscription model. The whole idea was this is one of those things where it is a monthly need for most women. So why don't you just subscribe and get it every month, right? So we actually built a proper sort of product tech around it. And we just got women to, one of the things we also did, we innovated in terms of making sure that the woman can customize her pack based on a flow. And we said, okay, look, choose what you want based on your flow and change it every cycle if you want to, and get it delivered to your home. And that's essentially what we built. So that made it very easy for us to, sort of scale the business without needing to be available or her having to remember. And the data has obviously shown that women quite often forget to stock up, and there is a stocking up behavior in this category anyway. So we said, look, let's just try to get rid of the problem by making sure we're there before she needs it. And I think that's the first way we solved it. The second was, of course, with the growth of e-commerce and now quick commerce, I think the fact is, as long as you're available, and we can already, and there's enough stuff in the press also about, how quick commerce is sort of really playing that role from a convenience perspective and taking away from general trade especially. So as long as you're available, I think that definitely helps from a distribution perspective. Last but not the least, we're obviously working on offline as well. So we're already available in quite a few retailers, whether it's Wellness Forever in Mumbai or a Reliance stores. We have actually building a massive presence across Reliance stores and working on a few other things. We just recently launched in Lulu, one of the sponsors of this as well. So yeah, I think we're building our offline presence as well. We know we need to be offline given the market, the customers shop there. But we've figured out ways, innovative ways to, to be able to be available to customers when they need us. So yeah.
Yeah, 93% of the market or maybe more is still in offline. So you have to go there someday. Yeah. And I think interesting what you said about making the woman stock up right when she visits, because that's the insight that worked with Clovia as well. That if the girl has visited you once, she just buys 1 or 2 pieces, she won't remember you. It will get lost. So you have to make sure that she wears you almost 4 or 5 days of the week, and then she will remember to get back to you. It's nice. Yeah. Anant, You spoke quite a bit about making sure that the supply chain is right and making sure that your inventory planning is such that you're selling what customer wants and not really what you're making. So is there any insight on the marketing side that got you, that helped you in scaling?
I think a very big subject, and it's very different for every industry and every business. But I think, we are a pure D2C brand, as I said earlier. And in the initial days, when e-commerce was evolving, the biggest problem we faced with regards to marketing is, how to instill confidence of the consumer in the brand, right? Because he's looking at it online, he's looking at a photo shoot, it looks nice, but how to make it more credible? So the first thing we solved is, when we had a little scale, we signed Surya Kumar as the face of the brand. So I think what was very important for us was to instill that confidence in the consumer ke, whatever he's seeing is a genuine product. It looks very, very affordable, and it's not fake, or it's not something that he's going to get duped of. Very recently, what we are doing with marketing and what we are realizing is we are not selling the product to the consumer every single day, right? Like we are becoming a part of his lifestyle. So if you look at our Instagram page today, we are not only showcasing fashion, we are educating him on, what is the best attire, say for, if you're going on a holiday, what is the best attire for a particular body shape. We are also putting across, how your designs are being made, how your product is being made, interacting with the consumer, making him a part of the journey. The third thing that we are doing is storytelling, right? Like, I think a lot of young people today get associated with stories rather than the brand itself, right? They see founders as one of their own. They want to learn, they want to understand, and they're very interested in this entire story that, everybody has a chance to become an entrepreneur, and, how one of them cracked it. So I think storytelling has become a very, very important part of marketing. Fourth thing that we realize is reach, right? How widespread your distribution is, how much more visible you are. I think that does a lot of marketing for you. Is your product everywhere? Is it online? Is it offline? Is it available at the airports? How much more reach can you generate? How visible can you be? I think that is also one of the key areas that we are working as a brand currently. Also, communities. I think we make, we market very differently when it comes to fashion. We've just launched a rap song today with Surya, right? Where, again, the idea is not really bhai shirt le lo, denim le lo. It's more that, we are saying today the campaign that it's just gone live is more of a rap song which is saying never give up, right? Like, and be your own sky. So what we are trying to tell him is don't let people judge you. Wear your own fashion, be effortless. So very important factor is don't sell everything directly. Make communities. We have a gaming community who we also cater to. We have a dancing community. So we approach all of them very, very differently. And I think all of those small, there is a community which is probably very, very, environment conscious. Some of them may be getting there. Some of them have gotten there. So focus on building smaller communities, and that will build the larger consumer base. So I think that is what we are doing as a brand.
I think it's a brand has won its game when, you spoke of communities, when a brand becomes like a friend that your user likes to hang out with. So if you have those communities where users are hanging out, I think the job is almost done.
Yeah, so on our page today on Instagram, we post a lot of office memes, right? And they get fantastic engagement. I think better than the ones where we are selling fashion. So I think very important is to become a part of their lifestyle. Yes.
So Paul, with Vismay, Indian ethnic wear, age-old traditional business, lots of brands, all kinds of unorganized, organized and then massive national brands. What did you do to differentiate your product and how did you create space for your brand?
So when we decided to start a brand, the first thing we were looking at was studying the market. What are the brands that are there right now and so on. So when we did an analysis, if you go to a high street or malls, there are the top brands. There are a couple of brands that you see almost everywhere. That's there. The benefit we had is that most brands are north, they came from the north or the mid western parts of the country, and that is their main market. So the southern part of India generally has been left untouched by the larger brands in terms of a deep customer awareness. So they are very strong. There are many brands that are strong there, but the depth of customer understanding is comparatively lower, and for the right reason, because the market is smaller over there. So that actually helped us identify a big gap that was available, and we realized that if we work around a few things, it might work. So in terms of designs, in terms of style, fabric quality, and so on. So once we identified that gap is when we started piloting it. We tried it out in the malls. So essentially, it's also about where you place your brand. In ethnic wear, the pricing is very subjective. So you can't price a product cost plus pricing. It's entirely about what a customer sees and then feels about it. So then we try, and if you put your brand in a particular position, it's automatically priced higher. The perception also comes there. So we tried experiments in different places. We tried in malls, we tried in high streets and so on. And we got the right price points, the right quality, the right kind of designs and so on. And once that was done, we had a customer, philosophy or understanding on what kind of a customer we are trying to cater to. And then we started experimenting the same we set up stores in Chennai, then Hyderabad, in Bangalore. And that was again an experiment. We were trying to see that, the idea we built in Kerala, the philosophy, is that actually going to work somewhere else. But we got a fantastic response when we set up in Chennai. Then we'll try it out in Hyderabad. Then we got an excellent response. So we realized that there is that gap in the market that currently, even though there are many brands, they haven't been able to fulfill it. So that is the area that we have been focusing on. We are working on building further.
Very interesting two states model. You have North versus South, and I think it's really, you are right, as a brand Clovia based out of North India, it gets very difficult for us to crack outerwear category for South. I mean, whatever we design, no self-respecting South Indian women agrees to wear. So it's a challenge, and it's interesting that you caught on to that trend so early on. Harsh, I have same question for you because you both same industry, ethnic wear. How did you create space for your brand? Again, very cluttered market.
So like I mentioned earlier, we also found a gap in the market between the everyday printed low quality suits that most mass brands were carrying. And on the other side, there were these designer wear brands which were very expensive and not really pret. They were more occasion wear. So there was a gap between those two segments, and that's when Mulmul came in and filled that void. And I think one of the key factors for us is that we understand fabric very well. So all the fabrics that we use for our collections are customized, are of the most superior quality in the world. Like, for example, we use Supima cotton, which is unheard of in the ethnic wear category in India for our classic collection. Then we use something called Tencel Luxe for our occasion wear, which is a fabric which is developed in Europe and is plant-based, sustainable, yet very, very comfortable. So, that was one key. And also all our designs are unique and custom made in-house. So nothing is market bought. And every style that we roll out is a limited edition style. So we make certain number of SKUs of every style and we sell them out and we never replenish them. So it gives the woman some sense of exclusivity. So no woman wants that, like today Zara is facing that problem that a lot of people don't want to wear Zara because they will see 10 other women wearing the same thing. So that's when we realize that women also want exclusivity when they're paying a premium for a product. And then we added a product line. So now, apart from the classic collection, we are also doing occasion wear, which is the wedding collection. We are doing lehengas, saris. We are doing pure silver jewelry. We've added vegan footwear to our range. We've done bags. So we are building a whole plethora of things that the Mulmul movement is looking for.
So you're true to your brand name. Mulmul is the fabric name, right? So
Yes.
you're working hard on fabric. Nice. So Jugal, again, an offbeat design brand between essentials to perennials versus quirky.
Seasonal.
Is there a method to this madness? How do you generate customer insights? How do you generate these design ideas?
See, I consider ourselves primarily as a design-first company, right? So we do maintain certain autonomy and thought leadership when it comes to what should we design next. And then I try to see how can I influence my audience to adapt that new creation. But obviously, it doesn't work all the time. So the right balance we found is what we call an ambassador program internally. So we've picked the right kind of existing customers as ambassadors, as a group where we openly share our creation process with them, get input from them, and in return they get that future launches at 50% off. So it's like a collaborative creation process, but that obviously only applies to certain collections. For remaining other collections, it just we take it season by season and just have a pulse on the market as to what's catching on.
Making customers see your voice of your brand as well as designers behind the brand. Good. So, Manish, with Pengu, you operate out of Goa, right? While it's an aspirational aspiration for all of us to someday be working from Goa, but how do you secure talent while operating out of Goa?
So when you work from the small states or small cities like Goa, so acquiring talent is always a challenge. Okay, so we try our best to acquire the local talent. The second option, of course, is to hire from outside the state and convince them to come to Goa, which is not much difficult. Like you said, a lot of people would love to work from Goa. Yes, so that is the second option that we have. And the last option is always a remote work option. So that is how we work. We have all the three modules where we hire local talent, we convince people to move to Goa, and then we hire the remote work workforce.
I hire me also.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yash, the time is ending. Now it's upon you to end this panel at a high note. You're co-founder and CMO of your brand. So please tell us one of the most interesting marketing hack that you have deployed so far.
Well, of course, we've had the pleasure of trying a lot of different things owing to the story and novelty of hemp and cannabis. But I think some of the things that have really stuck with us is the story of cannabis and hemp, and of course our scientific backed approach, because we use doctors a lot to prescribe and promote our products. So doing clinical trials, etc., which is conventional. But I'll tell you this interesting thing. Back in 2015, when we were at the onset of launching our clothing brand, a hemp clothing brand, we had done this survey. One of the questions in that survey was that what is the first thing that comes to your mind when we say hemp clothing? 8 out of 10 people had written a Bob Marley t-shirt, right? That was the cliche that existed. We did that same survey, like literally ditto, same survey 3 years later, where we asked people, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when we say hemp clothing? And 7 out of 10 people said it's a lightweight fabric, it's a breathable fabric. So I think using the product as a means for education was the strongest way, where people recognize the product for its functionality and not for what it is. I think that has really helped us, and building a lot of credibility, using our products, getting those testimonials. I still remember at a lot of these events and exhibitions, we used to have this sign outside our store in big bold letters, "Bhang ke kapde." Right? And people used to see that. There was that curiosity, and we'd say, and there'd be like a cotton shirt company next to us, and they wouldn't get asked the same questions. Will I get high? Agar ye main dhounga to pighal nahi jayega? All those kind of questions. So I think addressing the taboo, firsthand, giving them a good quality product, which would really instill faith in the plant at large, and then thus, of course, the brand. So I think these are some interesting things that come to my mind now.
You weeded out the taboos.
Yeah.
All right. With this, we'll end the panel and open for questions. I think we still have time for a few questions if there are any. No, we are out of time. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening to us, and thank you to all the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha.